Alright guys, so it's been about a week since I made an update, and I just put urea on everything this morning. Those of you that follow me on Facebook and Instagram saw the picture, and I do believe I put a picture on YouTube on the community page about putting urea on the corn back there, and you can see it's as tall as the front tires in the 6400. But we're going to look at the sorghum here right now, and there's alfalfa coming in it. There's still some alfalfa seed in my grain drill. And I turned my grain drill, that setting on a small seed box, down as low as it would go. And obviously it still let some of the seed out, but so there's alfalfa growing in the sorghum too. But as you can also see, we have this crap right here. Yeah. So I'm keeping an eye on that because you can see that it's getting ready to start throwing a seed head. So this sorghum is going to get cut before that stuff goes to seed. Because it's kind of hard to spray this. So we're going to cut it, and hopefully the sorghum will grow back and choke it out. But unfortunately I cannot flip my camera when I am recording. But I'm going to try and flip this around without being able to see it. And you guys can see how tall the sorghum is. Here's my waist, here's my belly. So sorghum is that tall. So the sorghum is getting there. There is shorter spots out there. You can see where it's a lighter green. From there to the corn is a wet area. Last year I grazed this all because there was water standing there all summer. So this year I used the mulcher to work that waterway because it's actually dry enough I could mulch it. So I got the waterway all fixed because the plan was after this sorghum is done this fall, I'm going to plant my ride combine here for next year. So I wanted that waterway to be more of a gradual slope going in and out of it so the combine doesn't nosedive. So, and I don't know, it was still wet. You know, I worked that ground and it looked nice and dry. I planted it, and as you can see, it's still like it's fighting because its feet are wet. But it is starting to darken up, and I did put about 50 units of N on this today. So I don't know if I did more harm than good by running over. You know, a couple places going across this field to put the urea on, but I have to believe that giving it the nitrogen, it's going to help more than it's going to hurt. Whether this stuff is going to die now, who knows? It might. If it does, oh well. Hopefully it'll bounce back up. But I drove over about a week ago back there to get to the pasture because I used the cut conditioner, and I mowed off all the Canadian thistles that were coming up in there. Then we had some big bull thistles in the back, and I drove across the sorghum then to get to that, and all that stuff bounced back up. So I don't know if this is going to bounce back or not, but here you can see our urea has agrotane on it. That's supposed to be a nitrogen stabilizer. So they're talking rain on Sunday night. So hopefully we get a nice quarter to half inch of just a light steady rain to get this stuff in the ground and get it activated. And hopefully this stuff really takes off. Here you can see another track. But kind of hoping to cut this in a week or two. I'd like to see it get a lot taller. But as a management for the weeds, I have a feeling it's going to be getting done sooner. Because like I say, there's the seed head starting. And I don't want that to go to seed. So I know there's a certain seed treatment you can get sorghum Sudan grass treated with. You can put a pre-emerge down before you plant, but nobody around here had any, and I wasn't gonna wait to order some from anywhere, so that's just the way it is. Damn things all over. Anyhow, in next year, I don't think I'm gonna be planting any sorghum early. I think it's just gonna be, because you can see our rye there, see how that's turning. I'm hoping we can combine that in 3 weeks. If we can be on the same schedule we did 2 years ago, around the 20th of July, be nice to get that combine, get the straw baled, and then I'm going to plant sorghum in there too. Then you can see this front field. I had a bag of that seed left over from last year, that open pollinated corn, and I planted it. That's 32,100 population. That's what I planted everything at. And it only had about a 50% pollination, or germination or less. So I no-tilled sorghum into that, I don't know, 3-4 weeks ago. The field was nice and clean, and then all of a sudden the foxtail came in. And the foxtail has pretty much choked out all the sorghum, so it's basically just foxtail. So I'm going to cut that here in a couple weeks, probably the same time I cut this. And probably going to make baleage if I get a bale wrapper. And then I'll spray that, and then at the same time I plant sorghum where the rye is. I will plant sorghum in there again, but we're gonna burn that down. So I'll cut it, leave it for a week or two, let everything green back up, then I'll smoke it off with Roundup, then we'll plant the sorghum. So yeah, that's what she's looking like. I don't know, it's looking better this year than it did last year, other than now I got water hemp and stuff growing in this field where the other one didn't. So I don't know where all this water hemp came from. It's just crazy. But anywho, that's what she's looking like. You can see our test plots there. You can see where I got to spraying one day and then I got rained out. That got sprayed 2 days ago. That's dying off now, but I all got 115 units of nitrogen put on it this morning, so a little bit of rain and it should take off. But anyway, that's a little update on the sorghum. Alright, so our corn back here, I should say all of our corn. This is the first nitrogen that I've put on it, other than a little bit of AMS. I did put some potash and AMS on, right after I planted it. Put 50 pounds of AMS and 150 pounds of potash per soil sample. But this corn is this high. I mean, it's up to it's up over my gut, so yeah, it's growing like crazy now. So this corn has been basically going off mostly manure credits, and is, right here is a little bit lower spot, but this is all still waist high. And this is what I wanted to look at where I came through with the tractor, because as we get down here, the corn's getting taller. You're getting away from the sand knob. Like, this is sandier and more shale as you go up the hill, and as you come down it gets heavier ground. I mean, you can see the difference. And now we're getting to where it's almost up to my neck, not quite. Another 2 days and I'll be up to my head. But I drove through here with the tractor and the spreader, and this stuff here now is, I'm holding the phone up by my face. So that is 3 inches and it'll be touching my nose. But you can see now, so this outside got fertilizer or manure put on it last fall, and then I got some more put on it this spring, and then the big spreader broke right here. And then this didn't get any fertilizer put on it or any manure put on it other than cows grazing. You see that line? Manure, no manure. This is just going off commercial fertilizer. So this has been scavenging any nitrogen that's in the ground to go on. Where this had nitrogen from manure, So, but as you would notice going across here, there's a fair amount of clover that's been dying. And I think this has been picking up nitrogen from that clover, which the clover is almost all disappeared now. There is still some that has escaped or is still dying, but I don't know if you guys can see that or not, but there's 115 to 120 units of N on the ground right now. So then you get over here, we're getting closer. Now we're going up on a knob again. This is all sand again. So this has been going strictly off of what was here. You can see there's manure pat there, manure pat there. And when you look across the field, you see taller corn with short corn all the way around it. Either a cow urinated right there or crapped right there. And that's the way it is all the way across. So anyway, that's what we're looking at. You can see the nitrogen on the ground there, or urea. So hopefully this, we're supposed to get a rain, like I say, Sunday night, then Monday, and then Tuesday. Hopefully we don't get torrential downpours like we had last week. Last week we got over 6 inches in that storm. So hopefully we don't get that again. There's the cows. So that's what the corn's looking like. This stuff here is knee high. This stuff here is just a little under knee high, but it's to be expected on the sand knob. If you were to walk down there as you get to better ground, it's higher again. So yeah, that's what our corn is looking like here. This was planted the same day as the test plot corn. This is planted after the test plot corn. This corn looks better than the test plot corn. When I planted the test plot corn, I left the corn planter depth setting to where I have always had it. And then when I came to this field, I went down 4 holes on the depth and planted this. This was planted May 30th. Both these 2 fields on my last field was planted. Yeah, see right here, this is what I was afraid of. That might have been a tire that did that though. But this corn's all tipped from getting run over. And then from the spreader axles, they should pop back up. The stuff that's down there won't. It kind of looks like Cousin Scott's corn. Kind of snapped off. But anyhow, so this corn was planted deeper. It emerged faster than that stuff. And this stuff has just been thriving ever since, where that other stuff over there has kind of just been petering along. So we're going to leave the corn planter set deeper. I don't know really what the difference was, other than it was deeper. It hasn't been dry, so it sure shouldn't be, because that was lacking moisture. But I don't know. If you look at my ground, I mean, we've got plenty of mulch, so I'd like to see more, but it's better than nothing. You know, and this is grazed all spring, so the cows grazed the winter eye off for how many weeks before we planted corn. So yeah, I don't know, it's coming along though. You know, the old saying is knee high by the 4th of July. Today's the 3rd, so she's right on track. You know, that stuff up there is lagging a little bit behind, but we're planning on chopping that, so if that's a little behind, so be it. But come September 1st or the week before, we'll compare the 2 fields and we'll decide which one we're going to chop. This is 8 acres, that's 10 acres, so you know, it is what it is. We'll chop one and leave one to combine and pick. But and then throw this in too. The corn on the other side of the hill, over on my other land on the other side of the road, that corn was planted the day after this. And that looks just like this, so there's got to be something to be said about planting deeper. So that stuff over there is planted about 1.5 inches deep. This stuff here is a little over 2 inches deep. So yeah, I don't know, we're gonna leave her set the way she is like this for next year though. So anyhow, there's another update. So you can look back and see what it looked like about a week and a half ago, and she's really jumped up the last few days. So we're getting there.